G'day, Mark here from AustralianMusicHistory.com, back with another trivia quiz. This time I've got 10 songs, but only one question. Is it a cover or is it an original? Some of these you'll know straight away, and a couple of them are going to mess with you, including one band's original that turned out to be, well, not quite as original as they first thought. And we're finishing on one of the most covered Australian songs ever written, which is its own kind of trick question. I'll play a bit of each one, and then you make the call. Then I'll tell you the answer and why it's more interesting than a straight yes or no. Keep your score as we go. I'll ask for it at the end. Cover or original? Let's find out how well you actually know this stuff. Question 1, Born to be Wild by Rose Tattoo. Is it a cover or an original? Lock it in. This one's a cover. Steppenwolf had the original back in 1968, the song that basically coined the phrase heavy metal thunder, and depending on who you ask, gave heavy metal its name. Their version peaked at 25 in Australia. The same year, Angry was on screen with Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. It was a big year for him. Question 2, Am I Ever Gonna See Your Face Again by The Angels? Cover or original? Am I ever gonna see your face again? It's an original, mostly. Written by Rick Brewster, John Brewster and Doc Neeson in 1976. But here's why people get this one wrong. British band Status Quo heard it and reckoned it sounded a lot like their own song, Lonely Nights. Close enough that instead of a lawsuit, the two bands worked out a royalty agreement. Status Quo getting a cut of the song they had nothing to do with writing, sort of, partially. So no, it's not a cover, but it's the closest thing to one that never technically happened. Question 3, He's Gonna Step on You Again by the Party Boys. Is it a cover or an original? Don't you know that he can't forget you're a man, he's a man. Cover. And this is where it gets a bit ridiculous, because the Party Boys never had an original song chart, not once. Everything they ever released was somebody else's song. This one was written by John Congos in 1971. The Party Boys version, with John Swan out front and John Brewster from The Angels on guitar, went to number 1 in June 1987. Word is it was also being considered as a comeback single for John Paul Young around the same time. He never recorded it, but the Party Boys did, and it's the biggest hit either version ever had in this country. Question 4, Eagle Rock by Daddy Cool. Cover or original? I'm just afraid about the way we move. It's an original, and that's exactly the point. Ross Wilson wrote it in 1971, deliberately channeling that old doo-wop juke joint sound. He got the title from a newspaper article about 1930s dance crazes in American South. It's a brand new song dressed up as an old one, and it worked. 10 weeks at number 1 on the Kent Report. Gold in 11 weeks. The biggest selling Australian single of the year. If you guessed cover, you fell for the costume. Question 5, Baby Please Don't Go by AC/DC. Is it a cover or an original? Baby, don't go down the rolling, you know you love me so, baby, please don't go. When a man don't go. It's a cover and a proper old one. Big Joe Williams recorded the original all the way back in 1935. Don't you love those nicknames for the blues players? Big Joe. Anyway, AC/DC cut their version for the Australian pressing of High Voltage in 1975, and it became their live set opener for years. Funny footnote, early pressings apparently credited the song to Big Bill Broonzy instead of Williams. Even the record label got the history wrong before they fixed it. Question 6, Sounds of Then, This Is Australia. Is it a cover or an original? It's an original. Mark Callahan wrote it after moving from England to Bundaberg as a kid. The cane fires, the school bus, all of it started as a poem in his notebook. It peaked at just 35 in 1985. The Nine Network picked it up as their station ID in 1996, and a whole generation grew up thinking it had always existed, like some kind of unofficial anthem. It's the most sounds like it must be traditional, original on the list. Question 7, Shivers by the Screaming Jets. Is it a cover or an original?
The sound of her name sends a permanent shiver down my spine.
It's a cover, and a genuinely unexpected one. This was written by Roland S. Howard when he was 16, originally recorded by the Boys Next Door, the band that would go on to become the Birthday Party with a young Nick Cave on vocals. And that was in 1979. The Screaming Jets picked it up in 1992 and had a top 20 hit with it the following year. A Newcastle pub rock band and the future voice of Australian post-punk, connected by one song. Question 8, Flame Trees by Cold Chisel. Is that a cover or an original? Yeah, that one's pretty easy. It's an original, written by Don Walker and Steve Presswich for the 20th Century album in 1984. The song itself is pure Don Walker, inspired by his hometown of Grafton. It's one of the most This Must Be a Standard originals in Australian rock, which is exactly why it's on this list. Question 9, Hey Little Boy by the Divinyls. Is it a cover or an original? This one's a cover with a little twist. The original is called Little Girl by the American band Syndicate of Sound from 1966. The Divinyls didn't just cover it. Chrissy Amphlett flipped the gender in the title and the lyric and made it hers. Released in 1988, it spent 12 weeks in the top 50. The same instinct that made Amphlett who she was. Take someone else's song and make it unmistakably about you. And question 10, Friday on My Mind by The Easybeats. Is it a cover or an original? Yes, it's an original, written by Harry Vander and George Young in 1966. Here's the twist. This is one of the most covered Australian songs ever written. More than 100 versions exist, from David Bowie to Peter Frampton to Gary Moore. So if you guess cover on this one, I understand completely. You've probably heard 4 or 5 different versions of it without realising the original was Australian. The Easybeats wrote the song that convinced everyone else it's worth covering. So that's it. We had 5 covers and 5 originals. How did you go? If you got 8 or more, you actually know your Australian pub rock. If you got caught out by Flame Trees or Friday on My Mind, don't feel bad. That was the point of putting them in. Tell me your score in the comments. And if there's a song you reckon should be on the next one of these, cover or original, let me know. I'm always looking for the next one that'll catch people out. If you're a diehard trivia fan, head over to australianmusicdatabase.com and try the trivia quiz there. I've recently added a bunch of new questions and I'd love to see how you go. If you want more of this, hit subscribe and I'll see you next time.